God tells 3 stories. Heavenletter number 6024. May 23, 2017. I ask you, how are you today? You answer, fine, thank you. If you think a moment, you realize this is your true answer. Listing your complaints is only skin deep. If you really and truly knew you were standing right before me, it would surprise me if you would give me a list of all your recent irritations. I know you wouldn't. For one thing, you might be so dumbfounded at my appearing and my question that you might be struck dumb. Perhaps, at the moment, you would not be able to think of one thing you need or even most desired a moment ago. It's possible that my appearing right before you is all you could think of if you could think at all. Let me tell you an old story from long ago times. It may be a true story of an old very poor man who was so good and worthy that I, God, visited him on earth and asked him what I could give to him as a reward for all his goodness and the understanding and merit he held those in who had less than he. With all, he shared his crust of bread. This old man didn't race in with a whole list. He thought a few moments and then asked for only one thing. God, do you mind? Could I have a little butter with my bread? What a simple story of humility, pure and simple without trying to be humble. Do not think it is forbidden for you to ask me for everything you want. If you ask me from the truth of your heart, if you want to ask me for everything that you could possibly desire, I would not give you a lecture to discourage you from asking for all your heart desires, not at all, just as you allow your child to share all his desires with you. A red truck, all the candy he wants, to grow bigger fast. At the same time as I picture you before me, asking me for a whole cake, a new car, wisdom, true love and everything else, I imagine that your voice gets fainter and fainter the longer your list. Isn't this a bummer? These are 2 versions. 1. Be simple. There really isn't a whole lot you need to be happy. 2. Ask for all your heart's desires. You discover that there really isn't a whole lot you need to be happy. What you need is relative, as this whole world you live in on earth is relative. I do not ask you to refrain from asking. It would seem that in the privacy of your heart, asking for everything works fine, yet at the moment as you appear in front of me, you find that your life takes on a different cast, and much of your list simply no longer applies. Why would that be? Who is the richer man, the man who asks for butter on his bread or the man who asks for all he might ever want? And where does needing indeed exist? And what is the pull of stories in the world? Stories also seem to be a basic need. Even when you are surrounded by stories, you want more. I don't imagine that anyone believes that there is anyone in life with too many stories or too many metaphors in this moment called life in the world. What is the world made up of but stories? I love the expression, therein hangs the tale. Not sure what these words mean, yet I love it. You don't have to understand everything in order to love it. Love first, and you can understand later. Or, who says that you must have understanding? I knew an old woman on earth who once wisely said, I don't have to understand. I only have to accept. Channeled by Gloria Wendroff. Heavenletters.org